Hi guys, Kaze here. Welcome back. We're back with more Men of Yoshiwara Ohgiya with Utsusemi. We're back on Chapter 8, Dream of a Family. Before we get started, I would like to remind you guys, if you enjoy the video, after the video is over, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Show them the greatness of Otome games. Or how lovely they are, anyway. Anyway, let's get going. Chapter 8, A Dream of a Family. The next day, I went to Ohgiya in the middle of the day. I had made a promise to Utsusemi. I would play the part he had asked me to play, for his sake, even though I had my doubts. When I got to Ohgiya, Utsusemi showed me to the room, shielding me from any prying eyes. Gakuto and Ohgiya were already inside. Oh, hi guys. Ohgiya's gaze swam around the room, seeming unsettled. What's the serious talk you wanted to have? When Utsusemi sat down, Gakuto asked him, his eyes sharp. It's about my parents, having come here from the mainland. At that point, Utsusemi looked at Ohgiya. Ohgiya, you don't have to be so nervous. I know what you've had a rough time these past few days. I'm sorry, Ohgiya looked down, his small shoulders trembling. Hurry up and get to the point. You know I don't like wasting time. Gakuto interjected and Utsusemi straightened his posture. Yes, then I'll be frank. I like Ohgiya to be set free in my place. Huh? Everyone's like a jack. The two men had their breath taken away by Utsusemi's direct words. You can't be serious. You would trick your own parents? Not to mention, you're making liars out of not only yourself, but all of Ohgiya. Yes, I realize that. I plan to speak with the owner. Wait a minute, I don't understand. They really are your parents, aren't they? You're the one who's supposed to find happiness, and yet for my sake you would... Ohgiya bit his lip. Utsusemi leaned forward. Do you know what will happen to you if you can't keep your customers satisfied? I do know, but was he frightened? He was looking down and his shoulders were faintly trembling. That's why I have something to ask of you, Gakuto. For the sake of this lie, could you make the fake dagger we talked about before? We are really a conniving bunch, aren't we? For Ohgiya's sake and not your own? Yes. For a few moments, the two men exchanged a powerful stare. I could see it looked like more like glaring at me than at each other, but okay. But finally, Gakuto knit his brow. Impossible. How come? I said I'd do that only because I wanted you to be happy. Do you understand how serious it is for a courtesan to be able to leave? Of course I do. That's why I'm begging you as my brother. But despite his pleas, the next moment Gakuto, spurned Utsusemi's words. No, you don't understand a thing. The anger in Gakuto's voice made me shrink back. Don't look down at the courtesans of this island. If you really want to do this, do it yourself. Well, we don't have his blessing, that's for sure. With that, Gakuto stopped speaking and left the room. Several days later, having failed Gakuto's cooperation, we had yet to come up with a decisive plan. Our lie couldn't hold up without a blade called Utsusemi. Just when we thought all was lost. Miss, I have a message from Ohgiya. Ohgiya has collapsed. What? Unable to believe it, I hurried to Ohgiya. We really got... Sometimes it's becoming an episode with Utsusemi and Ohgiya. Huh. Okay. When I got there, Utsusemi had just come from the parlor where Ohgiya was laying. How is Ohgiya? The doctor says it's physical and mental exhaustion. If he rests, he'll be better before long, but the problem is... He lowered his voice and whispered in my ear. Let's go to my room. We shouldn't talk here. I nodded and we got to Utsusemi's room. Why are you in here now? Why is Gakuto here? Gakuto's face held none of the resentment it had the other day. Have a seat, Kaze. I've changed my mind. Yonere started talking about trading Ohgiya away. What? It's just a nice way of saying he's being dismissed. According to Utsusemi, Ohgiya would be transferred to another shop. Ever since Ohgiya started causing problems, The owner, who had always looked out for him, seemed to be quickly changing his tune. Things have gradually been getting tougher and tougher. It's no wonder Ohgiya collapsed. But there's nothing the owner or his courtesans can do for him. Oh no. The owner must be feeling utterly betrayed, considering his high hopes for Ohgiya. But Ohgiya is still our precious sworn brother. That's why you decided to go along with Utsemi's plan. I don't like it, but there's nothing else that can be done. But are you sure this is what you want, Utsemi? Gakuto's sharp gaze pierced right through Utsemi. A man does not go back on his word. I see. I've always thought you deserved this happiness. But I'll talk to my friend about the blade. However, Gakuto's gaze suddenly turned toward me. What is it? You've chosen a troublesome man to love. I blushed at the thought that Gakuto had sensed my love so easily. Gakuto? I'm just teasing you. He chuckled, but his gaze quickly regained its sharpness. Utsemi, let me know when you're going to talk to the owner about this plan. And don't speak of the dagger to anyone, understand? You too, Kaze. Yes, I understand. After that, we started secretly carrying out a plan that Utsemi had hatched. Utsemi and I decided to, starting to next day, I'd call it tomorrow, split up and investigate the dagger. If the owner agreed, the whole shop would tell our lie. If the truth got out, it would spell disaster for Ohgiya and for Utsemi. Using a fake dagger would be our last resort. But please, don't ever tell them that I'm their real son. I hadn't forgotten the sincere words he had said. Thinking about how Utsemi was conflicted deep inside, my heart was filled with concern for him. Several days went by with no relief from my worry until one day. Miss, I have word of the dagger. They found it? Musashi looked down and shook his head. But I was told the preparations for the fake one were completed this morning. Oh. I began to wonder if we should talk about the plan once more. I told Musashi I was going out and went to Ohgiya. I thought about my first visit there. I had come to know this road well, but the road we approached this twilight night. If I went to go down this road, there'd be no turning back. Fake or not, once we got a dagger and put our plan into motion, Utsemi would lose a chance to ever have his real parents back. I already had one foot over the threshold. I knew there was no choice but to walk this road. When I got to Ohgiya, everyone was busy getting ready for opening. An Ohgiya employee took me to Utsemi's room, where Utsemi and Gakuto were waiting for me. Kaze, I thought it was about time for you to show up. Have a seat. Okay. They were sitting opposite of each other, a table between them, upon which was a blackened dagger barely 10 inches long. This is the fake Utsemi. It was hastily made, but its appearance is good enough to fool people. Utsemi cleared his throat. There was an unspoken feeling of oppression in the room. You're really sure about this? If Ohgiya is released by the name you are meant to succeed, you will never be free. Gakuto looked at me for a moment. And the ones you'll be tricking are your blood parents. I'll ask you one more time. Are you sure? Yes. It was a single quick word that held all of Utsemi's firm resolve and resignation, and that was totally not his voice, but I'm sorry. Though he was a few words, my heart ached in its place. I want you to take Utsemi said, share Utsemi's resolve, his resolve. But even so, determined to share Utsemi's resolve, I firmly returned Gakuto's gaze. He stared at me intently, as if looking into the depths of my soul. It looks like your feelings won't change. In that case, there's nothing more I can say. Gakuto turned to Utsemi and handed him the dagger. A jet black scare reflecting of the light illuminated the room and shone ominously. You use it well. I will. My home is here at Ohgiya. Thank you so much. Utsemi bowed reverently and put the dagger in his breast pocket. Something cried out under the cover of the thick blackness of night. Gakuto slowly lowered his eyes. Kaze, I have always felt that this man was running away from happiness. You mean Utsemi? Yes. I wonder if he'll say otherwise. Utsusemi started to speak, but Kuto gave a deep-throated laugh and continued. That is what I thought. If he was using Ohgiya's happiness as a reason to run from his own doubts, I should go to the ditch surrounding the district and throw the dagger inside. Kuto. Utsusemi always put on a brave face, but I felt his heart had started to waver that night. I don't understand your desires to give others love and dreams, but I did think it was cute how you always looked up at me and tried to follow my footsteps, even if you come from your past circumstances. I will forgive you if you make the young lady cry. I'll remember that. Good. I'll see you later. And with that, Kuto left the room. Utsusemi grasped the pocket where he put the dagger so tightly, his knuckles were white. That night quietly wore on, and as dawn came, Utsusemi sat leaning against the wall and pulled me into his lap. He slowly combed his fingers through my hair a few times, then suddenly kissed my hair and whispered softly, "Forgive me, Kaze. I must be making things so hard for you. It's okay. I don't mind. My heart is always with yours." I put my hand on his chest and slowly leaned into him. Even if things were hard for me, they were much, much worse for him. You really are a picture of femininity. He smiled delightedly at my words and held me tighter. The more infatuated with you I become, the more unworthy I feel. But if you weren't here, I could never have done something as crazy as I'm about to do. Utsusemi. I twisted my body and buried my nose in his shoulder. His skin on my cheek was slightly warm. Together with Ohgiya, I'm going to deceive my birth parents, using a fake dagger and lying outright. But that way, Ohgiya will be happy. Yes, I'm sure he will. But in return, Utsusemi would never be able to see his parents again. Time will erase all memory of me, even for them. This is what I want. He was speaking to me, but he seemed to be trying to persuade himself. The words Kuto had spoken played again in my head. I've always felt that this man was running away from happiness. Was this really the right thing to do? He was raised in pleasure quarters and has made a living of making women happy. And now he would continue living that way from now on. Utsusemi, what does happiness mean to you? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud. Utsusemi smiled at me, his eyes sad. You don't mince words, do you? You're like a Kuto in that way. Great, I can be Kuto's little sister. No, little sister for Kuto. What? Sorry, I didn't mean... It's fine. Don't apologize. I like how frank you are. There's no way I can argue when you put it like that. How can I? Is that so? Utsusemi smiled mischievously and lowered his eyes. He really knows everything about me. No matter how much time has passed, I'm no match for him. Did he mean Kuto? Kaze. He lowered his voice and wrapped up my entire body. As long as you're here, there's nothing more I could ever want. That alone is enough. Everything's fine. I've done everything I've wanted to do. Now, everything. His words, whispered so quietly, stung my heart. Still, I steeled myself and asked him the question in my mind. You really don't have any regrets? Do you? Utsusemi raised his head and looked at me unblinking. Before long, he narrowed his eyes and smiled. Good question. I've come this far up the ladder in this job. I like to keep climbing a bit. I like to become an Orion, be in a procession, but that's about it. Really? Is that really all? Yes, it's a big dream of all men living in Yoshiwara. He spoke cheerfully and nodded. His smile looked too happy, so I turned to smile, but on the inside, I was crying. Oh, that reminds me. Utsusemi got up and reached for a dresser in the corner of the room. The former robe you made me was around here somewhere. Found it. Utsusemi pulled out the luxury robe that had been made from the fabric I had chosen. Light shining in the handcrafted robe, a pale red fabric embroidered with intricate cherry blossoms. Oh, so that's how it turned out. You didn't know? It came from our shop. How did you, miss it? I touched the robe Utsusemi held out and looked at his face. If Utsusemi wore this, parading through the district, he'd be more gorgeous than anyone else. Kaze, please put this on me for a minute. Huh? Were my thoughts written all over my face? I lowered my eyes out of embarrassment and put the robe on his shoulders. I look pretty good, don't I? Yes, but you put it on properly, you'll look even more wonderful. What was it I saw it could do during his procession again? Maybe like this? He did a step of a solo hachi-monji right where he was standing. Soto hachi-monji was a special march that courtesans performed during a procession. What do you think? Utsusemi asked this question, trying his best to act cheerful. Silent. I'd rather like to see that outside someday. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Really? That makes me happy to hear. He touched the tip of his nose and smiled a pained smile. But then his eyes suddenly turned sad. Kaze, you don't have to cry for me. Huh? Did you not notice? Utsusemi embraced me and brought his lips to my ear. A tear of sadness fell down my cheek. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cry. I don't know why I am. You look like you're having so much fun. I'm sorry. It happened in an instant. In a split second after he whispered in my ear, I was pushed to the ground, and the next moment, his lips were on mine. Oh, okay, hi. The words I was about to speak, the ones his heart couldn't, were held back by the kiss. The deep intertwining of our lips echoed the feelings we both held in our hearts, the sadness we were hiding, the quiet pain, and our intangible love, all were in this kiss. His lips finally landed on my chin and brushed against the thin skin of my throat, and then gently touched my chest. Kaze. I covered my eyes with the back of my hand and felt a sweet but sad numbness, but the cool sensation of a teardrop I thought I felt on my chest. Was it my imagination? I was too cowardly to find out. Ah. I mean, it's for the good of Ohgiya, so there's that. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Do you think they're doing the right thing? Let me know. I guess we're doing what's good for Ohgiya, but that's gonna suck. Same time as Ohgiya, you have to hang out with Yoko. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next episode, chapter 9. Bye, Kaze out.